By the year 2020, the human race is nearing extinction. Earth is invaded by a race of reptilian aliens known as the Clum. The Clum appear as aliens with lizard and crocodile-like creatures, having a tall build and strong limbs. They are a highly aggressive and technologically advanced race as they use a black nanotech fluid. This black fluid not only helps improve their weapons, vehicles, and armor, but also merges into anything they need. There is also no limit to the fluid's power, allowing it to easily demolish buildings. Furthermore, the Clum possess telekinetic powers. They can hack into the human psyche and take control of the human mind in an instant. Upon arriving on Earth, these alien invaders burned the forests and destroyed the cities that were reflecting the history and culture of the human race. Famous landmarks around the world have been tampered and covered in human flesh and skin. The Clum killed and enslaved millions of people, whom they saw as a lesser species, akin to pests. Eventually, the Clum alter the Earth in a way that suits their living conditions. They build megastructures that emit methane around the Earth, changing the air in accordance with their breathing atmosphere. They extinguish the remaining plant life on Earth to grow their own crops. This has resulted in a sudden rise of global temperature and intense flooding, to the extent that some cities became underwater. As for the remaining humans, the Clum exploit them in numerous ways. Some of the humans are taken into the breeding facilities that they built, making them surrogate incubators for the young aliens, in which the human victims are inevitably sucked out of life. In another building commonly referred to as a conservatory, some humans are used by the Clum for experimentation. Technologically revolutionized cybernetic attachments are inserted in the cerebrum of the human slaves, transforming them into speakers with the purpose of encouraging the humans to surrender to the Clum. In both cases, very few people are able to escape. The deliberate killings and exploitations were done in large numbers until all that survived was a small group of resistance fighters, with one last attempt to fight the alien invaders. The resistance fighters gather in Texas, consisting of a group of U.S. Army soldiers and a few other survivors. They have resorted to living in underground bases among the ruins. In the meantime, the resistance fighters protect themselves using a brain barrier, a device that can block off the mind-controlling abilities of the aliens. Unfortunately, the lack of resources makes it impossible for everyone to use a brain barrier. At the same time, the alien invaders know about the brain barrier and the resistance fighters, but are not bothered by the threat since they are aware of the humans having barely enough food, weapons, and ammunition. The Clum is seemingly convinced that the resistance fighters' rebellion against them will fall apart because the Earth will soon be completely terraformed and taken over by them. Despite their unfavorable circumstances, the human resistance fighters refuse to give up. Hope is the human race's greatest weapon, and they aim to fight with whatever they have, gathering enough morale to fight. One day, another human slave has just been converted as a speaker. He is sent to one of the ruins in Texas, accompanied by two members of the Clum. As they arrive, the human slave proceeds to call out everyone in the area, urging the other human survivors to cooperate with the Clum in a conservatory. From a distance, a pair of human survivors are watching them, a man wearing a cowboy hat and a woman in loose clothing. The woman approaches them shortly after, saying that she will voluntarily come to the conservatory with them. The woman, however, is revealed to be a suicide bomber. She carries a small explosive in her hand while walking towards the human slave and the Clum. One of the Clum detects the explosive, immediately shooting the woman before she can move closer. The woman then explodes as soon as she is shot. Unbeknownst to the human slave and the two Clum aliens, the woman bomber was just a decoy to bring them closer to another wired bomb. The man in the cowboy hat, who was later identified as Nosh, activates the wired bomb using a remote. This prompts the human slave to explode along with the two Clum aliens. Afterwards, a young boy comes out and lifts up the dismembered arm of a Clum alien, feeling elated and hopeful at the Clum's defeat. Elsewhere, a military convoy is suddenly hit with an airstrike by the Clum. One of the soldiers survives the attack, struggling to get out of the truck. He is about to shoot himself when he catches sight of an angel-like sparkling being appearing in front of him. The soldier is stunned and thus concludes that the angel-like being is humankind's savior. In the meantime, Nosh spends time in a scrapyard, searching for anything he can salvage. He is known by the resistance fighters as the person who created the brain barrier. Nosh is a skilled pyromaniac and bomb maker who was able to adapt to their current living conditions due to his proficiency in modern technology. On another note, Nosh mostly works alone and does not easily listen to others. Later, two resistance fighters meet with Nosh. Jasper, the leader of the resistance, is accompanied by Carl as they come asking Nosh for more supplies of the brain barriers. To their dismay, Nosh offers them only a few pieces of the brain barriers and does not want to sell his other built weapons. Jasper insists on receiving more supplies, promising to pay Nosh generously. She also tells Nosh how much they need his help in fighting the Clum. However, Nosh is not bothered by the presence of the alien invaders and only likes to ambush them for fun. Nosh seems to believe that the arrival of the Clum allowed him to be free. He can do whatever he wants because there are no longer any laws that can put him to jail whether he acts morally or immorally. Nosh agrees to provide the resistance fighters their needed supplies, under the condition that they will send some of their sick and troubled members to become bait when he ambushes the Clum. Carl is angered by Nosh's unusual demands and points a gun at him. He and Jasper then decide to walk away empty-handed. In their underground base, the resistance fighters visit a man named Amur. Amur is a mute test subject who managed to escape from the Clum. He was picked up by the resistance fighters during one of their missions and was initially mistaken as dead. He has strange-looking cybernetic attachments in his head and body after previously being used by the alien invaders in one of their experiments. Jasper tries to talk to Amur, assuring him that he won't be harmed by them. Carl, on the other hand, is worried that the Clum has corrupted his brain. He suggests killing Amur before the Clum could track them, but Jasper strongly refuses. She decides to release Amur from his chains and help him recover. She then assigns Sarah, another member of the Resistance, to talk to Amur so they can find out more about his experience with the Clum. Later, Jasper observes another person being treated in their makeshift infirmary. She stares in astonishment at the black fluid that comes out from the person's body. Meanwhile, Sarah has started talking to Amir. Sarah has a strong liking towards him because he reminds her of her daughter who was killed in merciless experiments of the Clum. She offers to give him food and informs him that he will need to do her a favor in exchange for it. Amr does not answer, but eventually eats the food. While Amr eats, Sarah gently removes the cover in Amr's head, revealing the strange cybernetic attachments in his body. Staring at Amr, Sarah thinks that he has been reborn through his painful experience and now has something new about him. After some time, Amr finally recovers from his injuries and has slowly adjusted to his cybernetic attachments. One night, Sarah and Amir are watching the soldiers prepare to leave for battle. Sarah explains to Amr how the soldiers and our whole resistance are willing to sacrifice themselves to fight and stop the Clum. Amr is still mute, but is listening to Sarah. Just then, Amr becomes distracted by a sudden vision of the coming battle, wherein a wounded Clum alien is running away from the soldiers. Meanwhile, Carl and Jasper notice them nearby. Carl expresses his annoyance as he sees Sarah having a conversation with Amir. He still does not accept Amir as a fellow human being because he believes that Amir has become more similar to the Clum. In reply, Jasper says that Sarah's fondness is because of the daughter that she lost before. Later, Sarah attempts to get information from Amir. She theorizes that some of the human beings who survived even after the experiments are those who have serious developmental disorders with exceptional knowledge and aptitude. She then deduces that Amir is one of the very few people who possess this rare condition and is able to see the future with the help of his cybernetic attachments. Sarah is seemingly aware that Amir has premonitions, so she pleads with him to tell her the futures he sees. She proceeds to ask Amir with numerous questions concerning the impending battle. Sarah asks if the humans can learn to hunt the Clum, if he can see them winning the battle, and if the human race will eventually be feared by their alien invaders. Amr does not react, but as Sarah continues to ask more questions, his eyes start to change color. At that moment, Amr has another premonition of the battle that is now clearer. In his premonition, the soldiers are driving in a military convoy led by Jasper. They are each armed with a brain barrier and are in an ongoing battle with the Clum. The resistance fighters successfully hit one of the alien aircrafts, causing it to crash in a withered grassland. The military convoy then drives to where the aircraft crashed, hoping to catch the alien. On their way, Jasper reminds everyone to check their brain barriers and to not look directly at the alien. When they arrive, the resistance fighters find the Clum alien pilot coming out of the aircraft. The alien pilot is wounded and is struggling to run away from them. Thus, the soldiers take the opportunity to continuously shoot it down. The Clum alien hides behind the boulders and finds a soldier nearby. The alien thrashes the soldier, causing his brain barrier to be disconnected. The soldier is then mind-controlled by the Clum alien, and he turns against his fellow resistance fighters. From the other side, Jasper and Carl alight from their vehicles to join the other soldiers. They encourage the soldier to not fall for the Clum alien's trick, but fails miserably. The soldier starts to shoot in their direction, forcing Carl to kill him in an instant. Right after, the rest of the resistance fighters attack the Clum monster, successfully bringing it down. The Clum alien dies while Jasper, Carl, and the rest of the resistance fighters surround it. Jasper orders them to cut off the Clum alien's head, which Carl picks up afterwards. Throughout the end, Sarah reminds Amur that he is a miracle and that he was unexpectedly given a gift. Having the same abilities that the Clum has, Sarah exclaims that it is time for Amir to use these to help the human race in return. She believes that Amir is the human race's only hope for victory. Raqqa is a science fiction short film released in 2017. It depicts the future of the Earth in the year 2020, now under the control of formidable reptilian aliens. It is mentioned by the creators of the film that Raqqa represents only the start of an ongoing series and was meant to be experimental. Nonetheless, Raqqa is absolutely brilliant and impressive. The digital effects are great. The film also shows a unique and original approach to alien invasion. Throughout its 20-minute run, it was able to bring out many interesting points. The dystopian element is easily noticed and the sense of gloom in the film is very engaging. The short film also brings light to the idea of morality in a world where everyone's survival instinct is activated. The open-ended narrative of Raqqa may stir mixed reactions from the audience. On one side, the climax leaves the audience to be hopeful and imaginative. On the other hand, the action took off just when the film was ending. Those who do not like cliffhangers may feel annoyed by this. Regardless, the execution of the scenes have been well thought out, which is why the film does not feel rushed and mediocre. All sci-fi enthusiasts can enjoy this film as it can make everyone look forward to what happens next. Raqqa has a massive potential to become a full-length movie or even as a series.